And welcome to the Talon Outdoor Show. I'm Charlie. I almost said and welcome back.
I'm JD.
Fred.
Captain Paul Tyre.
And I'm Grant.
Fred, you should be more confident about that. I'm Fred.
Well,
You it's like you almost didn't want to admit it or something. I mean, I wouldn't either if I were you, but still.
Yeah, I mean, I got to get this off my chest. I've been thinking all week.
Oh, here we go.
I think we need
to push the beat button.
Believe me, I'm getting.
You got the beat button ready?
Yeah. So, I've been watching some of these celebrities. I think we need to sort of emulate them and start our show off with a land acknowledgement.
What?
Why?
So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot here. We should acknowledge today that we are broadcasting this show on stolen land, once occupied by and I did some research on this. No. I see what you're fixing to say, and no.
Don't do it.
Stop. Change. Don't you read that.
The smoke of meth.
No.
That was one of them. And, well,
no.
We're in
no,
Midway.
Fred, no. I'm glad I read that before you did, because, no, I see what you're, no. Show it to Grant.
These were the.
Good Lord.
No, we got to have some
Just
standards
stop.
on the show. Just stop.
Take the phone away from him.
I mean, this
Take
is like
the phone.
real people. I don't understand.
No,
It's a good thing that was in like bold font at like 60 points. So
I had
I glanced over there and I'm like, what? No.
It's a silly world we're living in nowadays, ain't it? That is a thing.
That's
and
what
it really is a thing where
Taylor Swift the other day had a land acknowledgement broadcast on her show or on her concert. I mean, so what they don't seem to realize is that every tribe, every occupier of land beat up the previous occupier of the land.
Yeah, even in Native American culture, there were wars and people taking things from other people. And
I can probably name you the different. I mean, there were some cultures that are just paleo that were here that really don't have a known name for themselves.
They were on the paleo diet.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. Meat eaters, hunter gatherers. Yeah. But people have been occupying the land we're standing on here for 10,000 years.
Oh yeah, and they keep having discoveries where they're finding older civilizations.
So I'm just being conservative when I say 10,000 years.
Yeah.
But then you had later you had the Appalachian, the Miccosukee, and then the Creek, and then the white folk showed up, and
Arapaho,
it's been going on forever, and why are we beating this to death still? I mean, I don't get it. I
had this thought the other night. I was looking at, how politically correct team names are and how you can't do this and you can't do that, and culture appropriation and all the things about, well, so-and-so owned slaves back in the day, and so we can't honor them. And I was looking at, it was, I forget which two football teams going to play, and one was Trojans or something, and there was a guy out there in the middle of the field with like a Roman soldier, Trojan, Greek soldier.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
Uniform on, and he's jamming a sword. He's jamming a sword down in the ground, and I'm like, okay, so you know what? Back in that society, in Greek and Roman times, they enslaved people regularly. I mean, and now it wasn't always of a particular race or anything like that. It was just whoever they conquered, they killed and slaughtered a bunch of people and enslaved everybody else, and that's been going on.
That's what the Indians did.
And absolutely, Indians did the same thing, and so but we don't cancel that. It's whatever's more recent. We have to think about the more recent ones, and so I get it. I get that people don't want reminders of stuff. But at the same time, I don't know of anybody that I've ever met that has been directly one. I mean, I get that there's generational issues and things like that, and it's been less than a couple hundred years and all that. But I mean, if you just keep going back and back and back, that's been. And if society falls apart, if the United States government falls apart, and we quit leading the country.
Some strong civilization will come in here and take us over.
But, or it will turn into chaos, and the same stuff will happen again.
There will be like an inevitable kind of social hierarchy. If something collapses, something's going to fill.
We have slavery in the United States today.
Nature abhors a vacuum.
Right.
We have slavery in this country today. It's the human trafficking and the stuff that's coming in our country. That's coming through the southern border. It's coming in. That's going on today. Today.
That is getting ready to stop.
I know, and it needs to be corrected. And the thing is the person that wants to correct it's the ones that on the left that hates the most, and he's the one that's going to stop a lot of that stuff in our country. Because if you drive the demand, then you'll drive the supply. And if there's no demand for it, then people will quit grabbing kids and doing these things and shipping them in here.
Let me give you a piece of good news.
Okay.
So as you know, I wound up going to Disney World last week.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to go to Disney World.
You had to do what you had to do.
I had to do what I had to do. But being me, I figured I might agitate a few people. I'm sure that probably shocks y'all. And so I got down there, and it was a little chilly the first morning, so I had a little pullover. But under the pullover, I had a golf shirt that I had bought in Miami at the Trump Doral. It had big Trump letters across the thing. And when it warmed up, I proudly wore my Trump shirt around Disney World, thinking I was going to get into some arguments because I was feeling kind of bored.
Let's go to Disney World and pick a fight. Happiest place on earth and pick a fight.
I was ready to let them have it. It had the opposite effect. I had Disney employees.
What?
Love your shirt, man. And I'm like, what is wrong with it?
It's
not woke anymore.
That's awesome.
They were using that reverse psychology on you.
I mean, there are other like patrons. I mean, they come back, fist bump. I mean, it was.
That's awesome.
A little different.
I was
this
like,
time
wow.
I think
what's happened here? I mean,
you're seeing it in professional sports.
Yeah, doing the Trump dance.
Doing the Trump dance, and not just
I danced anyway. I mean,
not just not just John Jones from the UFC, but you're seeing football players doing their end zone celebration.
Yeah,
and so I think you've had a pivotal shift.
I think we have.
Well, clearly more than half the country voted for him.
I ain't sure that wasn't three-quarters of the country, and then they cheated another quarter.
Well, but the point being is that people, now that he's going to be back in office, people are starting to say, I can say what I want now and do what I want.
Yeah. Even Fetterman. I mean, he's out there saying,
yeah.
I'm like, what's happened? I think that guy may have switched parties. I don't know what's up with him.
Well,
I was surprised the other day he got where he could talk again.
He's had some brain issues. I'm just saying he's had some.
I'm thinking one of the brain issues may have corrected some things.
Maybe
y'all hear about Joe Yarborough and his wife went down there to see Trump, and boy, that MSNBC is going.
Yeah, what's his name? Joe Scarborough.
Morning Joe.
And that
now they called him Hitler up
Rika
till
Polinsky or whatever.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, they just went to reach out to try to build bridges so that they could actually
keep their jobs.
Yeah, keep their job and be part of the conversation instead of being outside just pointing fingers and criticizing. They want to be part of the conversation where he might actually talk to them.
Well, that just goes.
And he did.
And now they're getting probably run off of their own network.
That just proves that none of them actually believed. Because you can't tell me. I mean, if I truly believe somebody was a fascist and Hitler reincarnated, and I wouldn't ever talk to him. I mean, I wouldn't be. I'm not going. Yeah. Why would you want to?
Oh.
If you truly believe all those bad things that you said about him, why would you want to sully yourself with being in their presence?
No,
I wouldn't.
That's right.
I'd leave the country if I thought that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
The DeGeneres did move to Great Britain or England somewhere.
Ellen DeGeneres.
Ellen DeGeneres.
That's what I heard.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is a lot of What happened to the microphone? The microphone.
We lost
just
juice.
quit.
Somebody done unplugged.
Back on.
I think we're still
on our air,
Yep,
but I can't hear myself.
Okay.
Well, a lot of celebrities already have houses all over the world in different countries and and some of them have dual citizenship. So, what the heck? They're just doing what want to do.
Yeah.
It's not like it's very disconcerting when all of a sudden you quit hearing yourself. I didn't know if I'd lost my hearing, I had a stroke, or
picking it
starting
poor
to
old
look
John
like
Fetterman.
Fetterman.
the little power supply over there for the
Yeah, I think it's
President got
short.
excited under the table and then
So how long we
kicking
got,
his little
Grant?
feet.
Just a few
A
seconds.
few seconds.
All right, well,
Well, give me a finger when it's time to.
Not that finger,
it's
no.
one of the more professional broadcasts we've done in a while.
The family-friendly version. And hey, we'll be back in a minute. We get this thing figured out. And we're back. So we got a little technical issues, which none of you folks, you were inconvenienced by it simply by the fact that we got all sideways because our headphones quit working.
Look at him.
If y'all could see Fred with his,
I don't understand.
yeah. Who is that? Fred's wearing fake teeth.
Trying to feel like
Looks like looks like he's a British dude on meth.
Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, you do kind of look like that. Act like that sometimes too.
You ever wear them in the court?
I am.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, now we were talking before the show. We were actually having a conversation before the show about vehicles and stuff. And I had recently gone and traded. I drive one every day just to get good mileage and save gas, and then I drive my truck. And I wish this phone would hush. Dadgum, people have no idea what I don't know how to turn the thing. There you go. Maybe that'll. So, I just, I think about fuel efficiency. And Paul, we got to talking about electric vehicles and all that stuff. And you'd mentioned something about Trump maybe cutting out. And I do expect that.
He said he would.
That he's going to cut out
The tax breaks.
some of the tax breaks, but some of those are on the books for a little while already. And I don't disagree with that, even though we have one electric vehicle, and we did benefit from some of that. Just didn't have to pay taxes. It's different when the government gives you a subsidy for something. If they take tax dollars and give it to you and say, I'm going to give you this, that's a subsidy. I'm going to take somebody else's tax dollars and give it to you. I think that's absolutely wrong. Now, giving you a tax deduction, on the other hand, I'm not necessarily opposed to, because say, okay, if they're encouraging you to do something that is better for the environment, or better reduce this or do this or do that, so tax deductions, it's kind of like kids. You get a tax deduction for having a certain number of kids.
That's a tax credit. So a deduction.
Well, a tax credit or a deduction is just an expense. I think you get a tax credit.
Yeah, credit takes it off the tax you pay. A deduction takes it off the gross income that you pay taxes on. So that's a deduction to me is a much more moral thing to do with government, because all that does is say, okay, we're not going to count that as the income you have to pay tax on.
So if you made $50,000 this year and you get a $5,000 tax deduction,
you pay tax on $45,000. Right.
If you get a tax credit,
then you take the tax that you pay on that $50,000, which is what, I don't know, 10 grand, 8 grand,
and take it off of there.
You take it off of the tax that you pay.
Okay, all right. Well, then depending on how they structure it, but we did take the advantage. We put solar on the house and we got an electric vehicle. Now that sounds left-wingish, but I didn't do it because of the environment. I didn't do it because of the tax break. I did it because if the world ends, I got electricity at the house.
Right.
If the Chinese send the virus over and shut down the power grid, I got electricity at the house. And if they can't deliver fuel to the gas stations anymore and you can't take credit cards because none of that works, I can still drive to town and back based on what's going through from the sun to the car, and we have the ability to do that.
Plus, the EMP doesn't.
We have EMP protection on all that as well.
Does it protect your car?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're telling me if there's an EMP, that your electrical system in your car will work?
Yeah, with the EMP protection that we have installed on it.
Okay.
Now
theory.
I can't tell you for sure that on that electric vehicle. So but the point being is I'm not as worried about EMP as I am worried about a virus, because that involves that's a direct attack. Now, a computer virus or something. So all that said, I do things because I look at the economic sense that it makes to me, and that's why electric vehicles won't go anywhere. Elon Musk builds Teslas, and he's all part of the Trump administration. He's all part of this. Here's the thing: is if it makes economic sense for you to do something, if you crunch the numbers, then I mean, some people have electric golf carts and some people have gas golf carts. Why do you have an electric golf cart? Why do you have a gas golf cart? Well, some people say, I don't want to charge it. I have it on my hunting lease. I want a gas golf cart because I don't want to have to worry about it. But you got to keep clean gas in it, change fuel filters. You got to service it and all that stuff. Well, I want an electric one because it needs to be quiet, and my HOA says I can't have a gas one. There's all these different reasons why people make these choices, and so
basically the freedom to choose.
So people should have exactly that. Paul is perfect. That hits the nail on the head. People should have the freedom to choose based on a free market economy. The government should not get involved in what we choose. I mean,
or the manufacturer thereof, like they're trying to.
They were saying they're mandating. Mm-hmm. You know,
we're having to shove DEF fluid in all of our diesel pickup trucks. What kind of nasty, corrosive crap that is? Urea going into to clean our exhaust systems, and that's something that the government mandated. This ethanol,
but not for themselves, by the way.
No, they get to use the good stuff.
The diesel trucks that the Air Force and the Army and the Navy and all the vehicles that they have are factory DEF deleted. That's a fact. You can look that up.
Well, and then we can delete stuff, but we're not supposed to.
Yeah, if you want to get fined a lot of money, you can delete it.
And so the government gets so involved, and I would love for the government to just get out of all this mess.
I think that's getting ready to happen.
Yeah, well, I'm all for it, but I'm not going to get rid of an electric vehicle or get rid of my solar or do anything like that because we're doing it for other reasons. It makes so and so you want to. So when we bought an electric car, my wife and I and my family had moved to Marianna. We were driving. She was driving to work an hour a day from Marianna to Tallahassee, driving a pickup truck, and she was spending right at $30 a day in gas.
That's a lot of money.
Okay.
$30 a day.
We bought her an electric car.
And you charge it off of your solar.
Well, we do now, but before we did, we just plugged it into the house, and I calculated what we were burning. We were spending $7 a day in grid power. Off the electrical grid. So we went from $30 a day
that was my
to
question.
$7 a day. And then when we went to solar, guess what? It doesn't cost us anything.
Just the price.
Now we've had that.
That's a $780 savings just in making that switch a month.
Yeah, car payments like
times,
9, and the car
times
payment's
12.
like 9. So in the net effect of that is we're paying $200 a month for a car. That's extremely nice. We got one of the Kia EV6s back in the day. We've put 65,000 miles on that thing, and imagine the amount of fuel savings that we've saved in 65,000 miles.
That's $10,000 a year.
I want you to get one of the moon wagon pickups that Tesla's got out there.
Holy crap!
So tell me that doesn't make economic sense.
It makes total sense.
Well, now you look at trade-in value. Now the trade-in value is in fact less because as you put that many miles on one of those, and people look at the battery and all this kind of stuff, and then it ain't my job to figure out what to do with the battery at the end of the thing when the battery goes bad. The fact is, I crunched the numbers. I have a whole spreadsheet on this. I mean, I sat down and I crunched all these numbers. Yeah. It does not make sense economically for someone who drives 10 miles a day, but for someone driving that distance. Now she's at the sheriff's office in Jackson County, and she doesn't drive that far. So we charge the car once a week. Does it make as much economical sense? We keep gas vehicles, and I drive a hybrid and a diesel pickup truck because, that makes a lot of sense. And we have vehicles that we can go on trips with. You don't want to buy an electric car if you're going on long family trips on it because you do not want to be one of those that charges at the at the quick charge thing. It costs more than gas.
Yeah.
Does it really?
Wait, when you pull up to these places like they talk about and you charge up.
You got to pay for that?
Oh, yeah. Well, depending on what plan you're in, if you you get a Tesla, I think they have a.
You just wait till somebody ain't home that's got one of them outside plugs on the house, and you slip up in the driveway and help yourself.
I mean, I've been considering getting. I have a security company, and we do some patrol around town, and we never put more than a certain miles a day on one. We could put an electric car in that and charge it maybe once or twice a week And the problem is where are you going to park it and where do you have a place to charge it at? Because you don't want to stop somewhere. And so there's this is what it boils down to, and this is my whole point on all this. It doesn't make sense for everybody. It doesn't make sense for even most of the people, but it does, in fact, make really good sense for some people. And so when you get I hate electric cars. Well, you hate electric cars because you think somebody's trying to make you get one.
Right.
But
there's a difference.
But you don't think twice about getting an electric golf cart versus a gas golf cart, or getting this or getting that, or having, the thing is if somebody came out with a butane powered cell phone as opposed to a lithium ion powered cell phone or something, they go, well, you just push a button and it internally generates blah, 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 which is stupid technology. But let's say it happened, if you could see the economic sense behind it. Because when you have new technology, you have something called early adopters. Okay. And then those people look at new technology and they're the people that run out and get it right away.
Call it innovators, isn't it?
Yeah,
and what they said in business school.
Yeah, something. And then there's different layers of it, and then it becomes mainstream somewhere down the line. Well, what has happened is that we're still not mainstream on all this. And you know what? We may be one day. We may be where everybody drives an electric car. I mean, that may be the future. At some point in time, you got to get away from fossil fuels. I think the hydrogen fuel cells is probably where we're going to end up going. I'd love to do that because to me that makes sense for the environment and it makes sense for the ability to refuel quickly.
I'm for the Fusionator 3000 that the little drop your garbage in the back of the DeLorean.
No, so let me tell you what I'm looking into.
Back to the Future 2.
There is an electric drone coming out that's one man that'll carry one dude.
Mm-hmm.
And would carry 1.5 of you.
Yeah, well, I could put 2 of me in there. And this thing's going to be like $100,000, and I'm seriously.
You'll have one.
Seriously thinking about it.
What did you ask?
Well, have you looked into solar panel your buildings?
No.
To run what did it say?
No.
Okay.
Because I don't think that just strictly trying to save on utilities right now is economically sound advice to go solar.
Gotcha.
I think you're better to buy it off the grid.
It sure was on that car.
It will.
Looked like it.
It's to me, it's a matter of being energy independent when things go bad. That's the only reason I got into it. I didn't get into it for saving money on my utilities. I don't have a utility bill. They've charged me $20-something to stay connected to the grid. But I run hot water heaters and everything off solar. And, but it makes economic sense at this point in time. We'll be right back. And we're back. We'll quit talking about energy stuff and talk about the Dothan gun range and the fact that today, Saturday and Sunday is the first GSSF match at the Talon range of Dothan.
Yeah, and big outdoor match.
Yeah.
We've been having them here and been having them in Tallahassee for a long time now, since we first opened here, and this is
the Glock thing?
Yep, this is GSSF, Glock Sports Shooting Federation.
Explain how it works, Katie.
So you have to join GSSF.
Which you can do there.
Which you can do at you can come out there, you can join. One of the perks of joining is that you get a certificate at the end of your first year of GSSF membership. You get a certificate to buy a Glock pistol of your choice at Blue Label prices. So basically, just for instance, retail on a Glock 43X is somewhere around $500. Blue Label price on a Glock 43X is $380. So you're getting your money back for the membership in that certificate at the end of, you'll get a little coupon, and even if you're not blue label eligible, meaning law enforcement or military, if you're not blue label eligible, you get a certificate to buy one at blue label price.
All right.
So that's a big perk of being a member of GSSF, and as long as you maintain your membership, you get at least one of those certificates or one of those cards per year. So you can buy one per year at a greatly reduced price. The way the GSSF matches work is there's 3 different stages. You come out, you register for the stage. I think it's like a $15 entry fee per stage, or not per stage, I'm sorry, per gun you decide you want to shoot. So if you have let's just say you have a full-size Glock 9mm and you have a full-size Glock 45 or 10mm and you have a Glock 43 subcompact little 10-round or 6-shot 9mm or 380. You can shoot all 3 of those guns in 3 separate categories. You register for those 3, and you shoot all 3 stages with your 3 guns. And with your 3 entries into the match, you get 3 entries into a random drawing at the end of the match. And Glock gives away at a big match. The matches we have here, they give away 30 or 40, sometimes 50, depending on how many people enter the match. They'll give away 50 guns. Free gun certificates.
You don't get a free gun. You don't get me. You got a chance of.
Even if you really don't shoot well at all, you get a chance to win based on how many. Based on the.
Plus, I understand we are raffling off a Glock certificate at this match as well.
Yeah.
So you can go buy raffle tickets and.
When are they going to do it in Tallahassee?
Possibly win.
It's in February in Tallahassee.
We do it every year, February.
I might do.
And now we're going to be doing it every year in Dothan, because I think our turnout, and we'll tell you next week what the turnout was, but because it hadn't happened yet. But if you're listening to the show right now in Dothan or the Wiregrass area, then you can zip out to the range, and the match is going on this afternoon, and will be going on tomorrow Sunday as well.
Yeah, and you can come out and shoot. You can come out and shoot one stage on Saturday, and then come back tomorrow and shoot the next 2 stages if you want to.
And you can go watch.
You come out and watch, and then come back.
You can go watch, yeah. And so you got a couple different Glocks. You can shoot a couple different. The first one for kind of for practice. But here's the thing: is we've got about 8 or 9 bays tied up out there. There's 3 different stages, and they'll be spread out. But you can literally show up, register, go shoot, and be out of there in a half an hour to an hour at the most, if that's what you want to do. We invite you to stick around. We've got ammo in the shop for sale. We've got guns that you can rent one of our Glocks and go down and shoot the match with it.
Yeah, if you don't want a Glock, you can
no holsters, no moving. You literally go down there with a Glock in a box and some ammo, load your magazines there at the shooting station, shoot the stage, unload it, make it safe, go to the next one, and the next one do the same thing. There's no working behind cover or running and gunning and drawing from holsters. It's just a simple, basically a speed and accuracy drill. It's a lot of fun.
Yep, it is. There we get the first. I think we've had as many as 800 entries, or close to 800 entries here in Tallahassee over a weekend. So it'll be a lot of fun, and it's a good entry point into competitive shooting if you've never done that before.
So y'all come out and see us today or tomorrow at the Talon Range at Dothan. Be right back. And we're back. So, legal disclaimer. We're about to let Fred say some legal stuff.
No, it's legal. No, I mean,
I just told you it's legal stuff.
And he has stayed at a Holiday Inn Express at some point.
I did. That's right. One time. Yeah. I got a certificate for it.
So you were talking about the fact that people are calling our newly elected president a convicted felon.
Convicted felon. All right. So let's unpack that, if I want to use the new slang. So when you go to trial and you're found guilty at a trial, that does not mean you are convicted. You are not convicted until the judge sentences you. And the first part of the sentence is called the adjudication phase. In many cases, a judge can exercise the discretion to either adjudicate you to be guilty or to withhold the adjudication. There are certain offenses where that discretion has been taken away from the judge. DUI, for example, the judge must adjudicate you guilty. So if a jury finds you guilty, judge sentences you, you've been convicted of DUI. Grand theft, felony, judge can withhold the adjudication. So you could be convicted or you could be found guilty at trial of grand theft, a felony, but the judge could withhold the adjudication and then you would not be convicted. The adjudication takes place during the sentencing. He has not been sentenced. Trump has not been sentenced to anything. As a matter of fact, I just heard on the news today that they postponed the sentencing yet again.
Nope.
And they're not going to be able to sentence him, and that's till after the inauguration. They won't be able to sentence him during the inauguration. So he is not a convicted felon. So all these people running around out there saying, oh, he's been convicted 34 times. No, he hasn't. You're wrong. Stop saying it.
Well, and the other thing is that case has so many flaws in it that it eventually is probably going to be overturned.
There's no question about it. They've admitted evidence that the Supreme Court has since said should not have been used against him, implicitly said.
Can a president pardon himself?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's two schools of thoughts about that. So I think
I'm sick today. J.D. Vance is the president. He's going to pardon me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could admit. But probably the better route to take, the more safer legal route to take is for whoever the attorney general is, which is probably going to be Pam Bondi, to go ahead and just drop the case, which is what's going to happen, obviously.
Well, that's not a federal. Is it a federal case?
Well, the state case she can't do anything about, and the president can't pardon himself on a state case anyway. He can't pardon. President can't pardon anybody.
Well, his case was in which state?
New York.
New York.
New York. Well, the governor there is not going to help him out any. That's for sure.
No, but the mayor might.
He's having second thoughts.
But was it a city or
it was a state. It's a state charge.
So the governor would have to do that.
The governor would have to do that. I don't think she's interested in doing that.
Pretty sure she's not.
But I'm not so sure that Alvin Bragg is going to wind up being reelected because he'll face election during the term.
I think that'd be funny if they did charge him, telling him to remand himself to jail, and he walks up in there with a pair of sunglasses on, a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. You know, the gangster Snoop Dogg.
I don't think you're. I don't think you don't have enough room in here for the entire United States government to bring in here. We're going to have our meetings. Yeah, that's. It'll sort itself out in the next few years.
I think that judge is going to realize that, wait a minute, this thing is not going to withstand. I've already burned my bridge here.
Well, his whole purpose in doing all that was to help the Democrat get elected
anyway,
and that didn't work for him. So now he's probably regretting the decisions he made.
I'm sure that he probably is, and he probably wants to, worm on out and get retirement. And I mean, he's sitting there looking at the popular vote, and he's going, wait a minute. More than half the country does not like what I did.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to be that guy.
Yeah. Oh, he's that guy.
Regardless
of what he does.
He's that guy.
Yeah.
If he came out right now and said, "Hey, I made some mistakes in this, and in retrospect, I went back and looked at my decision, and based on facts that have been presented to me, we're going to reverse all this because it just, this is going to get reversed on appeal." There was some political pressure on me, and I need to resign from this position because it's put me in a position where everything's conflict. He did something like that, then he's not going to be playing golf with Trump or anything, but at least he could. Yeah. But he's going to lose all his left-wing friends, and the right-wing people already hate him, so he probably need to move somewhere else.
Isn't it Juan Mershon? I started to send him a meme the other day. It had a picture of a guy on there and said the Mexican word for the day is nacho. A picture of Kamala on there, the Kamala nacho president.
Yeah. So anyway,
because he is persona non grata, I think.
But Trump is not a convicted felon.
He is not.
All right. So that there came from the scholarly mind of Fred Conrad Esquire. An Esquire, right?
He can't even say scholarly and my name in the same sentence.
Yeah, that's why I had to pause for a second because I'm like, well, I can say there's enough pause I can go back and edit that and put stuff in there.
I also wanted you to know, duck season coming up. Disney World had something for me.
Uh-oh.
I got a new duck call.
Oh, check that out.
This is something you would get at Disney. It's a little mask, Donald Duck lips.
Uh-huh. You do a pretty good feeding. Probably do a good feeding chatter with that.
Yeah. All right.
That sounds like Charlie blowing a duck call for real.
It's a Donald Duck call.
I've heard Charlie try to blow a duck call before.
I was walking around.
Yeah, you had to listen to that all the way to Mississippi one time while I was practicing.
9 hours.
Cringing the whole time.
9 hours in the truck with Charlie, him practicing a duck call. And I'm like, is that it? No.
No.
How about this? No.
Yeah, I got it right before we got on the It's a Small World ride. And I must have aggravated every obese person in that park because I was blowing that thing the whole way through.
Why would that aggravate the obese people, Fred? I don't get that.
Don't
offend most of our country are clinically, including me. We are all
and they were all
right
at
now.
Disney World on the ride in front of me.
Well, is Disney World still woke?
They were not. I mean, I didn't see a lot of that. The last time I was there, a couple of years ago, I did. There was a lot of wokeness
CEOs.
going on, and
It's
with
out
the
of vogue.
patrons,
It's out of vogue now.
and
It's becoming out of vogue.
I mean, there was a few folks with orange hair and pink hair, and
That's okay.
piercings like in their eyebrow and eyelid and whatever else they had. Not a lot of that though. Not near as much as I have seen before.
Oh, like I said, it's getting to be out of vogue.
Yeah,
So that's good news. I
mindset.
think. I mean,
we had a really good conversation on the break. I hate that we didn't have it on the air about critical incident stress and things that people were going through, and I hate that was just on. I wonder if I could maybe edit some of that on a YouTube channel, but. So one of the things we were talking about.
I was going to say you could just make it a YouTube exclusive.
Yeah. Well, we'd have to take out a few things.
we can.
Some references to some stuff going on, but one of the things we were talking about was, and I like to go back to we do talk about guns and personal safety and stuff, and what to do if things are happening, and I'm trying to figure out how we might wrap that back around here, something we can talk about publicly.
Well, it's easy to make really bad decisions under stress, no matter which end of it you're on. If it's a stressful situation and things are bad, if you get the sense that something bad is about to happen, and that's we're all kind of born with that sense, and it's and I say this a lot. There's only one certain way to win a fight, and that is to avoid it. To take yourself out of the equation, get away from it, whatever else. That is the only sure win. Is to escape.
Well, we talk about this a lot when it comes to road rage. We talk about this when it comes to arguing with people in parking lots. It comes to the better part of Valor's discretion is just to get away, walk away. It's tough. Now, when you have a certain skill level, and I've discussed this a lot with people, that if you have a level of competence, it gives you a level of confidence, and if you carry your way that way, and if you will keep that mindset that I'm capable of fighting my way out of this, so I don't have to. Right. And it's okay to walk away from something.
Yeah, if you call me if I walk away from a fight and you call me a chicken, it's not going to hurt my ego.
Yeah, I mean, just walk.
This is the bottom line.
I prefer that you call me that.
Well, so if you are in a situation where, and we talk about breathing, taking a few deep breaths and calming down, autogenic breathing, rescue breathing, how can you get away from that? Maybe we have a little bit of time in the next segment. We'll talk about fishing, but maybe we want to circle back to this just a little bit as part of our public service, and we'll be right back. And we're back. So anyway, what we were talking about before we went on the break, real quick, just watch. Just because you put a gun in your hand or you go out and you get trained, that should reduce the likelihood of you using force, not increase the likelihood of you using force. It's all about your mindset, folks. If you are confident and competent in your ability to defend yourself, that's why people who study martial arts and get really good at fighting
they don't get
in fights. Yeah. And people who are really good with guns typically don't get in shootouts. It's the people who run out and buy a gun and think they have a gun, or a kid with a gun, and they go, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You don't have the level of maturity to go with it, or the level of training or the level of confidence to go with it, then you tend to get yourself in trouble, which is why we recommend having, like, right to bear insurance, so you can get an attorney when you need it.
Get some training.
And get some training and learn and be good at this stuff. But I mean, honestly, because, hey, do I need to get a gun to protect myself? I said, well, I highly recommend you do if you have the right mindset.
Willing to put forth the effort and have the right mindset.
Yeah, otherwise maybe not. I don't know. Speaking of guns, we just took a break, and JD disappeared for a little while, and he didn't come back. And I had to go look for him, and he wasn't in the bathroom.
I was cleaning the drool off my face. I apologize.
Which had nothing to do with you being in the bathroom.
No.
And you didn't eat no ghost pepper chicken?
No ghost pepper chicken or nothing.
I found him at the front counter, drooling over this pistol on the counter, and I'm like, okay. And then JD looked at me like, hey, you need to come look at this. I went over and looked at it, and I'm like, I can't touch that gun. No, that's. So tell us about what you just saw.
It's a Smith & Wesson Model 3, like from the late 1800s, in immaculate condition for its age. I don't think it's been refinished. If it was refinished, it was refinished at the factory, and it's fully engraved, I'm pretty sure, at the Smith & Wesson factory, with a set of mother of pearl grips, real mother of pearl grips.
Is it still out there?
I don't know. A gentleman brought it in. It was out of a state, and somebody didn't want it anymore, and he ended up with it. And and it was one of those. I mean,
it never happens.
It's one of those that I can look at it and tell you if it was just the gun in its original state and original blue, it'd be worth $5,000 or $6,000. That gun's got a guy's name on it. Look the guy's name up, and the guy's written books and was a Air Force guy that's authored books, and so not only was it all this gorgeous, beautiful thing, it was.
And he bought it at an estate sale.
No, he didn't. Somebody
just gave it to him.
Traded it to him.
It's like when
for a modern polymer pistol. For a Smith & Wesson M&P or something. I don't know. It's one of those, oh, my gosh. I mean, it's one of those, like, I felt like I was like looking for the cameras out there. Where's the Pawn Stars guys, I mean, that gun potentially $30,000-$40,000 if you went to the trouble of, I gave him some advice, which was to contact Smith & Wesson, get a factory letter on it. It's absolutely worth the $100 that you would, $125 you're going to pay Smith & Wesson to get a factory letter on it, especially if it was all done by them. And you get provenance on this thing, and that's a big deal with. And by the same token, I had a gentleman come in right before we started the show with 3 firearms, a Winchester Model 92 from the 1800s, a Winchester Model 1894 from the late 1800s, and an 1873 Colt Peacemaker 45 that was manufactured, we looked it up, manufactured in 1883.
Yep.
Wow.
And all of those guns, unfortunately, in my professional opinion, had been refinished. I would rather see those guns silver or brown patinaed with not rebluing, because the minute you take a gun like that and you reblue it, you have taken any original finish that was on it and taken it down to nothing, to zero. So you went from having, if the guns had been original condition, original bluing, and in the condition they were currently in, you took a $4,000 gun and you turned it into an $875 gun, $850 gun.
Same thing with guitars.
The Colt revolver, if it was in 95% condition, might fetch as much as $40,000 in an auction in 100 or 90+% condition, because it's 100 and however many years ago 83 was, 140 years old. In a 140-year-old gun, in with any original finish left on it. But instead, it's off the scale for a collector. they're not going to give you anywhere close to the 10%. If it had 10% of its original finish, that gun would have been worth a couple $1,000, maybe $3,000. It had zero finish because somebody had polished the prancing pony off of the Colt insignia was almost completely gone. The scroll the scroll work on the roll stamp. Sorry, I'm having a moment there. The roll stamp off the barrel was almost unreadable. It had been polished off and reblued at some point in time. So it's down to, no collectible value unless you just somebody that just what I call a casual collector that just wants a real one. It breaks your heart to see that. And then this guy walks in with his thing and like, oh my goodness.
And you can tell that one wasn't brought that.
Not at all. Not at all.
Wow.
So, 100-plus-year-old gun that's in this just unbelievable condition.
That firearm looked like it just rolled out of the custom shop last week. I mean, it's in really, really good shape.
I wonder what did they do with that thing all those years?
It was. I guarantee you, it was a presentation to somebody because of the name finally engraved on it, and the guy's initials engraved on it, and all the fully engraved from. I'm talking about from the muzzle to the. Probably was in a presentation case and cared for over the years, and probably not ever taken out and shot.
Right, so listen, if you got an old gun, don't get it refinished unless you have somebody that knows what they're talking about. Look at it first and tell you if it's worth anything, or you just may be shooting yourself in. Well, I mean, not shooting yourself in the foot. Don't do that. But you know what I'm saying. So let's get to Paul.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Paul.
Hey.
Been catching any fish?
I tell you what, they have been biting last week. Aren't y'all liking this cooler weather?
Yeah,
I am. I got a bag of oysters in the truck.
Again?
We eat them when we get done.
Well, the truck's in Mariana.
So. Of course. Gosh.
When I get home today.
Yeah, you're gonna be eating them.
You see how he does it.
Yeah, that's you've been talking about them.
I didn't want to put the oysters in the back of my new car.
Well, that's true. Yeah, don't want that smell.
All right, so the water temperature, it's getting cold this week.
Well, I tell you what, when I was out right before this front came through, it was 72 in the morning.
Okay.
And then we got this colder weather. I haven't been back out yet, but I'm going this afternoon. I bet you that water temperature now is about 67. It's probably dropped 7 or 8.
So rainbow trout need 68 degrees or less.
They are biting. Okay. They're moving in the creeks. Did you say rainbow trout?
Yeah, one of the guys that stocks his pond with rainbow trout and fly fish, he's putting trout in next weekend.
Because of water temperature?
It's got to be 68 degrees for those to survive.
I talked to one of my fishing buddies at a soccer game Wednesday night, and some friends of his went down to the lower end of the Apalachicola River, Lake Wimico, down that area, and said that in a day trip, they caught over 100 largemouth bass and several redfish.
Lake Wimico?
Yep. You're not going to catch, generally speaking, down there, you're not going to catch a big bass.
That's right.
But I think their biggest fish was 3 pounds or so, 3.5 pounds.
You can catch bass in Lake Wimico.
Oh yeah,
and redfish in the same trip. That's what makes it kind of awesome. And they were just swimming worms.
You can do that in Louisiana. I mean,
well, that's similar territory.
I guess. Yeah. Didn't think about it. I didn't know there was any bass in there because that's kind of like the international waterway.
Yeah. But there are bass. There are a lot of bass.
Shrimp start moving in.
That's right.
That's probably what's going on down there.
Yep. But they caught a pile of fish in a day trip down there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I want to know about stripers.
I tell you what, I'm excited to say that is starting just now. I pulled up onto a spot out there. You know where it's at. We call it the striper hole. You know where it's at.
Know exactly where it's at.
The down image and side image. I don't remember seeing that many fish on it. So I turned around, put my forward-facing sonar down, started looking.
Yeah,
couldn't find them. You know how fast them things move.
Move
that was the biggest school of fish I've seen in a long time.
So it's coming.
It's coming. I'm going to be checking some of that this week.
Striper fishing is imminent because we got a date.
That's right. We're going.
All right.
I'm wondering. I'm gonna have to have a rope to
hold him in.
Well, cause
I'll come be your videographer and Fred Holder.
Okay.
Think he'll pull me in?
He'll try.
Okay. He might.
You just put your foot up like that and hold on. We're gonna be controlling some Alabama rigs. They'll probably jerk that thing out of your hand. It's so fun.
So I got to tie the fishing rod to my hand?
I'm going to hold on to your belt.
All right, so
All right.
we run out of time here. Before we go, I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
That's this next week. So y'all spend time with your family, eat all you want to eat, and we'll talk to y'all next week.